Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Let's Stay Gamers, and welcome. So today we're looking at another ship that's caught my eye from the workshop. It's another design by A1A. Now this is the Galas, and if his ships are anything to take from the ones we've seen in previous episodes, it means that we're looking at a very high level of detail, as well as a high use of modded blocks. Now we'll just have a general look around this ship. So up front you can see we've got the cockpit through this double-sided clear glass, very compact, very confined. It's supposed to be some sort of space hunter ship, but in reality it's more of like a cargo type ship. And he's really followed the lines and added some detail in really interesting places with these modded blocks. You can see how he's got piping and different sorts of vents in areas, just creating that extra level of detail you need, and some sort of door or latching hatch with lights here. It just looks so cool. It looks so realistic as well, the shape and the texture of it. So let's go around the other side and have a look at some of the details. You can see we've got a limited arsenal of weapons around the front. We've got some lights, and we've got what looks to be a refueling pod, but I believe it's just a small antenna, but very cool indeed. So as we work over to the engines, now these are a little bit of a work of art in my opinion. We've got these sort of blast sort of thrusters that open up as the ship takes off. I'll tell you, it's just so detailed in every aspect of this ship. When this thing starts up, you'll be amazed. And then it works its way to the back of the engines, where I believe we've got sage thrusters once again tucked in the back with some added lighting for that little extra effect. So shall we have a look inside? I think we're going to have to. So this thing extends details everywhere. We've got two screens on the back doors, and as I approach the back, you'll notice that this little machine pops down here with a keypad. How awesome is that? Now these controls access different things. So the first one, let's give ourselves some warning lights to make sure the door's coming down. And you can see that the lights are signaling. We've got ladders, we've got rear lighting. Let's enter up into what seems to be the rear cargo cabin. Just look at the detail of this place. How cool is that? We've got the rear loading ramp, and each of these panels is detailed, and it gives you a really useful of what they do. So you can see one dot lowers, raises ramp. So let's actually try that out. So we press T on that, and there the ramp goes up. The lights are flashing, signalising that it's warning. Just really cool. So what's number 2? We've got gate locks on 2. So now we can see all them gates in position, ready for transit. We've got highlights over the ladder that you saw outside, the spotlights, so you can see how they turn on and off. Outside ladder overhead lights, that with the spotlights outside. Now if we go to these panels, we've got access to all our generators, everything we could possibly imagine. So if we want to make use of something, we can. So let's actually head over to this other side first. Now they seem to be duplicated both sides, and I'll read some of those things. So we've got command dampness, safety. We've got open and close valve system. So if we click that, the valve system on these doors should be opening, unless Aaron pressed the wrong button. I think I may have done so. Open reactor flap, that's what it's called. So there you go, the reactor flap is opening now. So imagine if there was poisonous gases leaking from that reactor, you'd be safe on the outside, and this little flap here would seal this area in theory. And you could actually go in here for some maintenance. You can see we've got speakers also in here, so we can broadcast emergency sounds when the reactor goes down. It is a very detailed ship, and it has been planned, so if something does break or there is a problem, it will alert you to it. So you can see here, we've got a bit of a systems overview. We've got reactor power and wattage, and these are all being processed with the sort of processing block, so we actually know exactly what is going on around the ship. So let's get out of the cargo area and enter to the next area. So we've got a little bit of a welcome sign, and we've got lighting for this area here as well that we can shut off to save some power. So as we go into this area, we're actually moving into the bunk room. This is where all the crew members will be sleeping. And what he's done that's really cool about this area is that he's give the crew name, so you can just write your name in there. And you can also maybe in the future, what would be really cool is like medical stats of the person lying down, so you can see if he's in a deep sleep or whatever. You've got some access panels running through the flooring with further piping as well, so you can see more of that crew members. And in this little room here, we have the most important room, the space toilet. So you can see there, simple little toilet design. We've got a sink, and we have a shower for all them needs, and obviously we have access to lighting in this area like you need, and you can close the door while you're next to the shower, so you don't have to reach all the way over there. Really cool, just a nice little inventive design. And as we look up here, you've got lights for this area, so we can switch the lights on. We've got a nice audio cue from the AI, and obviously you've got lights off, and you've got lower and raise. So let's actually select that one. So you can see this raises the sort of maintenance hatch area and the ladder, so we can actually go into the above. And I believe this cryostasis sort of pods up here, but it's a little bit of a challenge to actually get up into. So there we go. we're actually in here now. So this is the cryo chambers for the full crew. So the full crew could actually sleep up here if they're in a deep sort of voyage. And you've got the information or the readout for each crew member here, here, and here. So you've got all 4 cryopods. And then you've got some information on open and closed wiring compartments. Now these are pretty cool, really well detailed. So you can actually access all the wiring compartments around the ship. And then you've got the options to also turn interior lights on and off. So this is just a maintenance area as well. And the first aid section. And you've got the main reactor positioned straight back at the back. Just really cool, really well thought out, and I just love designs like this. So let's move back downstairs. We'll climb down our little bit of a ladder, and we'll have to seal that back up with a maintenance hatch wherever it is. We've also got battery controls in this area, wiring, engine in, so we've got everything we need. It's just so well detailed and just so well laid out. So let's drop down to this lower deck and actually raise up that light. So there we go, we're going to raise up that lower section. So that's what I'm talking about with the sort of ingenuity that goes into these designs. That ramp just acts as a whole other area of the ship. So let's actually go into the main crew quarters. Now this kind of reminded me of the Serenity sort of crew quarters. It's quite simple, quite compact. It's not as big, of course, as that ship, but it's got everything that you need. You've got a little stove over here, and then in this area it looks like you've got some sort of storage device or something. So let's close up this next chamber, and we can move on. So we've got different sorts of lightings for television. So we've got lights on, lights off, so on. Simple, really simple stuff. And then we've got the tellies, so we can swing the tellies around. So let me just swing that around like so, and you can turn these on and watch whatever you want to watch. You could watch some, maybe a cool DVD as you're traveling through deep space. And these seem to be some sort of targeting bays, the passenger terminal. Maybe it's just something like a laptop that they could actually read, or it could be a targeting menu themselves. So let's go into the cockpit now. We've had a look through the main areas. Beautifully done. Now we're into the cockpit. The cockpit does not stop with the detail. We've got all the information. So we've got outdoor lighting, so if you're walking around the ship on a dark planet, you could light that up. You've got start engine system, so you can access everything manually as well as from the cockpit menu. So let's turn that off. And we've got cab lighting, so we've got emergency lighting on 1, so that goes to red, so combat mode or whatever. We've got general lighting, basic lighting, so it's pretty much everything that you want for your ship has just been thought out and laid into this. Now prepare for something really awesome. Now we've got some timer blocks to activate it, and I'm going to activate 1. Did you hear that? It said hello captain, and listen, the engines are starting up, bits are expanding out of the ship. It just sounds so cool, the reactor, oh my god. And then if we have a look around the cockpit, you can see that we've got engines, motors, 100%, giving us readout, giving us feedback. We've got fuel over there. We've also got a message log. So this is going to read out all the posts that we make, and maybe incoming calls or messages could come from other astronauts or stations around the area. It's just so cool. It's so amazing. All right, now let's actually try to attempt to take this off. But first of all, I'm just going to show you how it deactivates and turns off the power. So we'll use timer block 2. So it says goodbye to captain, shuts down the engine, and so seals up all the engine vents and unlocks the back door. Really smooth indeed. And let's power it back up. So you can hear the reactor kicking in. You'll see the engine air vents open up so that you can get a full exhaust sort of system going out. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is disengage the landing gears. So we do that by hitting 5, and we're going to retract them up into the hull with timer block 4. So there's timer block 4 up into the hull. And finally, we're going to try 2 more things. So we've got the back door and the ramp on the other controls, but we're just going to bring this thing forward ever so slightly and raise it up out of the actual dock. So there we go. Wow, this thing is really cool. It handles pretty well for a ship of this size as well. I mean, you can see how it drifts around, but you're probably wondering what sort of arsenal it's got, and you can see just how we're drifting through space. Wow. That is just so cool. I love small ships gone wild. I keep saying it's cool because I'm absolutely just bewildered by it. So what weapons have we got on here? So if we go to the next tab, we have like a rapid fire auto cannon that you can see from the cockpit here. It's just mounted below dead center, so it means we could use that pretty well. And we've also got some sort of phaser, I believe it is. So if we get a 3, yeah, we've got some sort of gem-hide auto cannon, well, laser plasma thing. Wow, really cool. Oh, we've broken something. No, maybe we're not. Maybe we just went too fast and the flaps had to retract back in. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I really recommend you check this ship out on the workshop. It is a breathtaking piece of work to fly and look around, from the detail inside the cockpit throughout the interior. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.